How are we doing, team? Steven Fawcett here again in the High Performance Centre at JST Compete. It's finally 22.3, okay, our last open workout for the year, and we've finally got a bit of gymnastic skill to be able to separate the people on the leaderboard. So because of that, we're going to go through two different options. We're going to go through kind of intermediate option where it's going to be advice for people who are looking to gain quarterfinals qualification, or the kind of like midway through from qualifying for quarterfinals up into like the next, you know, 5%, and then we'll do an elite bit of advice for people who are like the top 5%, so people that are going to qualify for quarterfinals and they're thinking more towards competing in the quarterfinals and going towards semi-finals. Okay, so first of all, for those guys that are in the intermediate category, the limiting factor for a lot of people here is going to be the gymnastic skill. Okay, and that's a really important thing to remember when we're thinking about pacing from the beginning. Obviously, we start out with from fresh with pull-ups, and then we go into the double unders, and then we go into the thrusters. And a little bit similar to last week's workout where we had the deadlift and burpees, the 1 rep of the deadlift and 1 rep of the burpee, and then 2 and 2, 3 and 3. It's a bit of a trap to lure you into going into a really fast pace, because they're exercises or the rep schemes that you know that you can hit at a good pace. Okay, same kind of principle here is that we want to make sure on the pull-ups and the lighter thrusters that we're just staying relaxed, and we don't want to get to the harder part of the workout or the higher skill part of the workout of the chest to bar pull-ups and the bar muscle ups, and you know, be under a huge amount of fatigue. We want to make sure that we're approaching the chest to bars and the bar muscle up, whichever you feel like is your kind of your barrier, the thing that you're going to struggle with the most. You want to be approaching them, and we want to be under control. Okay, so a few different ways that we can stay under control up until that point. The first one is breaking it up, the obvious one, breaking up the thrusters, breaking up the pull-ups, potentially just having a little break on the double unders, and just having that time where you're not doing any exercise and you can actually then just think about getting some good breaths in, getting some oxygen in, and getting your heart rate down a little bit. Okay, so we've got breaking it up. They've also got the transitions between exercises from the pull-up bar to the rope to the bar and back. Okay, and what you do in those transitions, and just always just making sure you're staying relaxed. Like I said before, getting the oxygen in and just making the most of those transitions, because that's an area where you're in complete control and you can control how hard or how easy you're working. Okay. The next one is rep speed. This is more so on the thrusters, where you can control rep speed a little bit more. The old thrown-in thrusters that is famous for is just really controlled at the top. At the top, just taking a breath, and every rep's just smooth, okay? And you're constantly breathing through every single thruster. And we're not at that point where we're under loads of tension, holding the breath, and you know, a set of 5 is just taking that little bit more out of us, because we've not took a good amount, we've not took a few breaths along the way, and we just take a breath at the top of every single rep, okay? And then that kind of ties into the next one, which is just staying relaxed in the rep speed as well, okay? Relaxed on the double unders, just stay relaxed and calm on the bar, relaxed on the thrusters, okay? And those things together there, you've got a lot of different variabilities to be able to make sure you get then to the higher skill gymnastics, and you've still got some to give, okay? If bar muscle-ups, for example, you know that you can do 1 to 5 reps when you're at fresh. You want to make sure that you get into those bar muscle-ups in a decent time, and there's going to be a little bit of fatigue there, but to the point where you can still keep your skill level together and be able to, you know, execute those bar muscle-ups, get a good chunk of them done before the time cap is up. Okay. And the final thing, is, like I said there, holding on too early. It's a trap. Again, it's another trap like last week. Just because it's a light bar, don't get carried away and just crank it out unbroken, because you can. Just stay relaxed. Again, like last week, enjoy a paced start to the workout. Okay. Identify your limiting factor, whether it's going to be the chest to bar pull-ups, the bar muscle-ups, and make sure you make a plan so that you get to that part in a good time, but you're also as relaxed and in control of the workout as possible to then be able to start fighting in the workout to make sure you get through those harder parts for you, okay? On to the elite guys. Now, a little bit different here. The limiter for the guys that are going to be looking for semi-finals, qualification, or the top end of quarterfinals, the limiter here is going to be capacity, okay? It's a bit more of a capacity test, although we have higher skill movements, like the chest to bars and the bar muscle-ups, and the thrusters get, you know, to a relatively decent heavy weight, 61 and 38 in kilos. It's still for those guys that are towards the top. It's not too much that's going to slow you down. Okay, so what we want to think about there is we're going to start out at a fast pace. There's still the option of breaking up the thrusters from the beginning and the pull-ups and the chest to bar pull-ups, but the break is short. Okay, it's just a break to get a breath. And at this point, like we saw with the live announcement, is when it was Khan Porter who went and he held on with the thrusters in the second set, but that meant that his rep speed slowed down considerably compared to Tola, who broke the second set of thrusters, and his rep speed on the bar muscle-ups was way faster, okay? This is the point where the argument that you're going to have in your head quite a lot before you start the workout: do I go unbroken or do I not? Okay, and like we said last week again, rep speed is more important than unbroken, okay? There's no extra points gained for keeping the bar or the rig or whatever unbroken. Your points are just gained for how fast you do the workout, okay? So although you might get some ego points for your mates for staying unbroken on the bar muscle-ups or on the heavy thrusters, you've got to think of what's going to be the best, your best time, the best score that you can put out for this workout. So if you feel like you're into the middle set of thrusters on that second bar and you get into 10 reps and the reps are starting to be slow, you're having to take that breath overhead, and then you just slower out the squat, slower coming down, that's your indicator then. Drop the bar, take a breath, and then make sure when you pick up that bar, you're back to doing fast reps on the thrusters again, okay? And same thing there for the bar muscle-ups. The bar muscle-ups is an exercise that can go, like we're seeing again with Tola, you can do them fast and stay unbroken, or you can do them slow and stay unbroken. The pause is at the top, the pause of your chest down at the bar, okay? Make sure when you're jumping up to the bar, you're coming over, you're locking out, and then you're straight back down, okay? Pausing at the top, unless it's the last 1 or 2 reps, pausing at the top midway through that set of 15, you're just giving yourself more time under tension, and you're resting, technically, with tension. Get yourself to the bottom of the bar, take the rest then, so that when you go back up, you can fly up with some good quality sets to finish off that set of 15. So I guess the final tip then for the elite guys, because you know we're starting on the rig, we've got grip, we've got pulling, there's going to be a lot of blood flowing through the forearms and the upper body, and then we're coming on to the double unders. Again, we've got the handles in your hands, and we've got a lot of movement at the wrist and shoulders, blood still flying through the upper body and the arms. Then we're coming into the thrusters, and then we're going to be in this position here where we're trapping all that blood, okay? We're in a front rack position where we're cutting off kind of circulation slightly at the elbow here and at the wrist with the bar in the hand. We want to make sure that when we're overhead here and pressing out, and then we're in a front rack position here, we can try and let as much blood flow through the upper body and, you know, get it out of the system as much as possible, okay? If we're in a really tight position here in the front rack where we're on the fingertips and there's just loads more tension through the forearms and the arms here, we're not giving the grip any release when we come back to the rig and when we come back onto the double unders, okay? So just really prioritize your warm-up, just opening up a really good, comfortable front rack position so you're not struggling to be in a front rack when we get onto these thrusters in that kind of middle and last set, okay? Just make sure it feels really comfortable so that we can recover slightly in the forearms and the grip when we're on the bar, and then we can get to work again when we get onto the rig for the chest to bar pull-ups and the bar muscle-ups. Okay, cool. That's all from us. Enjoy 22.3. See you at quarterfinals.